Sure, we get real on arrow.net, ARROE.net, but that's how we all grow forward. ARROE.net. We are unplugged and totally uncut with Gerry Linarducci.
Busy, just like you.
Look, that's the way that we were finely tuned as kids.
Dude, it is. You're dead on, right? So it's a beautiful thing.
So then let's begin this way. How do we teach this to the next generation? Because you can look around you right now and see that there's a lot of people that are setting things aside and they don't care about the financial future.
You know, Arrow, it's so interesting. I've been giving that a lot of thought the last 2 or 3 days, and I've actually started conversations with some neighbors at different events over the weekend. And it's interesting, the responses. They're like, we don't know what to do. And we're almost at the point where it is what it is and we're giving up. And it's really, really sad that people are thinking this way and giving up, because our financial freedom is at jeopardy right now. And that is what scares me the most, is because this isn't a political statement, Democratic or Republican, but our government is failing us. And nobody knows what to do.
Yeah, they're giving up because people are giving out. And that's the thing about it is that as long as you're going to give it out, we're going to receive.
And the more they give out, the potential of the increased tax down the road of the next generation of my children and my grandchildren will be facing the financial disaster that they're going to be facing.
Now, when you write a book, I understand that, but what I try to do is I try to speak from the street in the way that not everybody picks up a book, and I know that you're out there, you're in Atlanta today because you're spreading the word and the message and things like that of financial personal gain as well as growth as well as loss, because you have to learn how to lose too.
Absolutely. I was actually just speaking with a present client earlier this morning, and I was explaining to her the fees that people pay inside their investment accounts. And if you're truly compounding your money in that investment portfolio, you have to pay the fees out of your pocket. Because if you pay the fees out of the account, you are then losing what I call the lost opportunity cost for those funds to earn interest. And that is wealth that you're never going to get back. So if you're going to pay a fee to someone in an investment account, you are always better off paying the fee out of pocket and truly compounding that account with net fees, if that makes sense.
It does. And I'll tell you what, if we had not taken a chance 30 years ago to make the investments and things like that, there would be no way where we would be today. I would probably be horrified of my future. But still, even with that foundation, I still have to question where we're growing.
Yeah, well, the question is where we're growing as individuals financially, right? So think of it as a GPS, right? All have a GPS on our phone, and the first thing we do is we punch in the final destination, and then whatever software we're using tells us the most efficient way to get from point A to point B, roadblocks, traffic patterns, constructions, and so forth. So the only way to truly learn and get to where we want to go financially, I personally believe after 26 years, is starting at the end, meaning not how much money do I want to have, but what type of income do I want to have when I retire? So the interesting part here is everyone talks about the accumulation rate, how much money my money is earning while I'm accumulating or getting to that point of retirement. But I very, very rarely see people discussing how much of an interest rate do I use for the assets that I've acquired to generate that income when I retire.
People need to know that our connection goes way, way, way back into the 1990s. I mean, you had the courage to open a cinnamon roll shop in a brand spanking new mall that nobody knew about. And yet you had the courage, like I said, to take a chance on that. And that has always been so inspiring to me.
Well, thank you. Listen, I took a chance because that was the values that my parents instilled in me when we immigrated to this country, right? That chance that I took was peanuts compared to picking up a little baby and coming over at the age of 2 and not having just $1,000 in your pocket, and then getting to where they are today in life, and they're still both kicking in their late 80s and early 80s. So I truly believe that the values of teaching your children morals, financials are so important in the world that that's the future. That is, if you're given the proper guidance when you're younger, it makes life a lot easier later on, and you can accept those challenges when they present themselves. Because remember, no one made the challenge possible unless the person accepts it and says, yes, I am going to do it no matter what it takes. I'm willing to give it a shot to have the American dream.
In March of 2020, I took a shot at I've never been in a place where I had a real job because I've always done radio my entire life. So radio people don't see real people. So during the pandemic, I went out there and got a job at a grocery store. And I'll tell you what, I think God put me in a place of learning because I'm seeing things on the real streets of America that just shock me. And you and I have talked about this. I think it's incredible that parents are teaching kids how to use the cards and stuff like that and the little machines and stuff to pay for the groceries. The problem is, though, is that mom and dad are using EBT cards and they're buying $400 and $500 worth of groceries. That's not teaching the future how to properly take care of your family.
No, it's not, and it's sad because they're missing the boat by doing that. I've instilled in both of my children the foundation of how money works, and money should not be treated as math. And when I say that is the eroding factor of the dollar is always inflation. And then the second one is taxes. And that's why the majority of Americans are like they find themselves in that wheel in the fish tank with a hamster that just goes on at 2 o'clock in the morning and doesn't let you sleep, and that poor thing. Well, that's how the majority of middle class America is right now. And, the wealthy and the affluent, they've got it figured out. My job now is that how do I give this message to middle class America so they can have a better opportunity 5 to 10 years from now? Because, Arrow, every decision a person makes today is going to affect them 5 to 10 years from now down the road when it comes to accumulating money.
See, I believe that every person should have a financial protector. And what I mean by that is that I know how my life changed when all of a sudden, what is this? They've invented a thing called an ATM card and an ATM machine. My life changed because all of a sudden money was readily available to me. So with a financial advisor, I've sat down and had those conversations where they say, back down. This is my job to protect your money. You're not going to get it until you really physically need it, if you ever need it.
Well, that's interesting. I think totally different.
Do you?
And here's the reason why, Arrow. Who am I to tell you what you can do with or without your money?
Okay.
Right? I'm just giving advice on what you should or you shouldn't do.
Right.
When I hear the word protector, I think about, how do I protect your money from market loss?
God.
How do I protect your money from possible decline of the deflation of the dollar? So think of it this way. If the affluent have figured out, the affluent do not keep their money compounded in an account. They use something that is called the velocity of money. And they generate multiple returns. And you know who has it figured out the most? Are banks and insurance companies. So if we can teach people the velocity of money or the 4 rules of financial institutions, we would all have a better chance at winning the game. And that's all that we want, is a chance to get in the game and win it, no matter what sport we're playing.
I'm not a fan of direct deposit. I think it disconnected the boss from the employee in the way of being grateful for that employee. A lot of hours we have returned since the lockdown back to where the boss is in control and there's a lot of abuse on the workday place, and which means people are switching jobs left and right. This is not the NBA. This is not Major League Baseball. We need to find some strength in staying in the game.
No, Absolutely. And the only way that we're going to be able to find the strength to stay in the game, Arrow, is to really understand the rules of the game. We can't play the game of Sorry or Monopoly just by throwing dice and moving, right? We have to know which piece needs to go where. So then we know if we make that decision, what are the ripple effects when that rock is thrown in the pond? What are the ripple effects by that decision that I made by using dollars on the left hand of my ledger or on the right side of my ledger? There's pros and cons to every decision, and we need to just figure out what the best pros are, what the worst cons are, and then we have enough information to make an educated decision, not guess. It's a decision.
How do you convince the consumer and or employee that, look, I realize the place of business might be rough waters right now, but you need to invest in the company with the 401k plan, because in the long run, that is your future, and you will be able to use that in retirement and things like that. But people aren't talking the 401k like they were back in the 80s and 90s.
Well, it's interesting, right? A 401k plan is a retirement savings plan. Mm-hmm. It is not a retirement income plan. So when people mention 401ks, I really need to know, what's the definition of your 401k? Are you looking to save money in it, or are you looking at it from the other aspect of it? How is my 401k plan going to generate my income? Because think of it this way, your 401k account is going to replace your working hours. So 401k, if a person is earning $100,000, here's the reverse timeline, and you're putting money in a 401k, how much money do you need at 4%, which is the safe withdrawal rate, 4% to generate $100,000. Well, that's simple math. At $1 million only gives you $40,000 a year of income. Right. That's before tax and before inflation. So, we have to really think about what is a 401k and how are we going to use it to the best of our advantage. And remember one thing, the company doesn't take any risk. You as the employee are taking all the risk. Yeah. And that's scary part.
Well, let me ask you this question when it comes to that 401k. I mean, is it legal to, I want to speak the average person that comes into my grocery store, that let's just say they've been at their job for maybe 5 or 10 years. They may have $25,000, $30,000 in their 401k. Hopefully they have more. But can they go and take from that 401k, meet with you, and you invest it in other things while you basically go to ground zero on your 401k, take the money that they've earned on the 401k, give it to you, you invest it?
Well, there are certain rules and regulations when it comes to money about 401k, right? Okay. So, again, not knowing the rules of the game. So if we're putting money inside a 401k, our money is trapped. We have control of how to invest the money, but we do not have physical control of those dollars, and we've given them away until we're minimum of 59 and a half years of age. And so many people, because they're overfunding or maxing out their 401k, there are opportunities that are in front of them and they can't take advantage of it because they're not liquid enough in their accounts, because all of their savings are tied up in their 401k, or they have equity in their home and they cannot access that equity because of economic circumstances.
What are you seeing on the streets? I mean, I realize you're in the business world and stuff like that, but what are you seeing in the everyday eyes of the man and woman, or even that teenager that basically tried to land their first job and they couldn't handle it because there was a little bit too much pressure?
Yeah, it's interesting. My average client right now, Arrow's between 50 and 60 years old, just like myself. And what I'm seeing is the people are terrified. Yep. I had a client who works for NASCAR, a gentleman that I met in Charlotte when I was living in Charlotte. And he said, Ducci, I am scared to death. I'm 57 years old and I've taken a hit of $160,000. What am I doing? What do I do? That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing fear in people because they're understanding they do not have the word time on their side anymore.
That's right.
Right? So they're trying to figure out how. Now, remember when earlier it's about protecting. I may not have the capability of earning that money that he lost, so it is now my job to help him protect the remaining dollars from future loss. over the next 12 to 24 months. And we all know that we are in a very, very bad time in our place in the world, not just here in this country, but around the world.
Mm-hmm. You have a podcast or anything going on? I know I see you up on Facebook and stuff like that every now and then. What's going on in your personal life? Because people, they're listening to this conversation today, but they're going to want to learn to know more about what you do, how you do it, and probably reach out and want to talk with you.
Man, Arrow, thank you so much for the shameless plug. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. I would just direct everybody to my website, which is Gerry with a G, Gerry, Linarducci, Linarducci, and just surf around. And there's a tab there if you want to have a 15, 30-minute conversation, consultation type thing. I'd be more than happy. Arrow, listen. Today is September 12th, one day after September 11th of 2001. And as I posted on my group's private group on Facebook this morning, we've been given a gift today, a gift of life that we woke up. And it is my job to help inspire others to make a change in their life, both personally and financially, because they both work hand in hand equally in our lives every day.
We got to do this more often, man. We can't be doing this like once every 3 months. I mean, if we do it bi-weekly or anything like that, I mean, I really want to share your message with the people on iHeart and iTunes and stuff like that, because I mean, you've got something here, and you're not talking from your pocket, you're talking from the street, and that's what I love about you.
Well, thank you so much, Arrow. I am at your disposal. Anything that I can do to help you, I am open to it, and let's just spread the word as much as we possibly can.
Excellent, bud. You be safe down there in Atlanta, all right?
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.